Hello and welcome to Unexplained Possibilities Podcast. I'm your host, Melvin the Crimson Taurus, and I am very frustrated because I set something up to play before we got started and all that, and of course, like usual, it just fell apart like, I don't know, 19. I don't know. I can't even think of something. I'm so frustrated. What's a piece of junk car that falls apart?
Pinto?
Funnily enough, I was actually talking to my mom today, and I told her I'm gonna get a Pinto. I just want one because who's gonna rob you if you drive a Pinto? So, okay, but
Nowadays, you really gonna ask me that?
you know what? Well, anyway, let me get through this intro. Yes, I'm your host, Melvin the Crimson Taurus, and unfortunately, Nima can't be here with us. She is traveling around the stars with little green men, and I had another fill in for her, Morgan, but she couldn't make it tonight. Some stuff came up, but I'm here with the other fill in? You're not a fill in, though. That's not right. I can't say that. But you guys already know who she is. You guys know Bonnie, that Texas witch, who's afraid of the little green men. And funnily enough, that is what we're going to be talking about. Although they're not green, they're gray.
I was about to say that the green part's kind of funny.
Yeah, so there we are. Oh, there we go. Because I have been having so much technical difficulties. It's ridiculous. And yeah, just a pain in the rear. But hello, everyone. So thank you for joining us. I know it is late in some places, and I appreciate you staying up, kicking it with us, and hearing us yap about something on this maybe hour, 20-minute podcast. And sorry again, certain things decided not to work. But anyway, let's jump into it. Bonnie, did you happen to see or hear about the House Committee and pretty much transparency on the possibility of there being extraterrestrial life forms visiting us?
Not until you ever so sweetly decided to send me or tell me about it, and I'm like, So no, I had no clue. I was clueless, and not that I'm surprised. However, yeah,
You're like,
this is going to be fun.
what? Ignorance is bliss? Is that what we're going
Yes.
with here?
Yep, I'm sticking with that.
Well, but how do you feel about that, though? That a government has on record said something.
Mm. It's odd. I find it very interesting because, think of it this way. Like, they have been very, very hush, hush, kept hush, 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 hush. There we go. With it for, shoot, since, oh, what's the crash?
What,
Back in the,
Roswell?
yeah. And all of a sudden, okay, well, we might have something happening, okay? That for them all this time, I feel like, okay, they've known. You know what I mean? They've known. There's something going on if they're going to let us know about it.
Yeah,
Obviously, they know something more than we do.
yeah.
Or,
I mean, it could go a couple of different ways. One is false flags, meaning that the government stages stuff for whatever reason to cause fear and panic, which surprisingly, no one seems to really be paying attention to this or like seeing it as a big
oddly enough,
deal,
right?
and it's like, huh, okay, well, that came and went. But they could use it as a false flag type of thing and create
Then,
issues.
then you go to wonder. Then, in that case, what are they hiding?
Yeah.
If they're going to be like, okay, guys, over here, look, aliens, aliens over here.
Yeah, because then it's like,
Then what
okay,
do we hide?
yeah,
Yeah,
what?
if we're finally going to admit that, then it's very. If that's the case, allegedly, maybe, kind of, I don't know. Then we should be concerned about like what they're trying to hide or bury.
Yeah.
Just my opinion.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you 150% because,
We're concerned.
you know, I the government's crooked. Simple as that. And if they're finally letting out this type of big secret, then it's like, oh gosh, what's the distraction? What's going to happen? What's blowing up? So that's how I see it. But still, it is one step closer to a full on disclosure, I guess we could say.
Mm.
Whether that's a good thing or not, it remains to be seen. At the moment, well, no one's freaking out. Nothing's happened yet. So I guess it's.
So, for those that don't know, what is it that we know? What is it that's being disclosed at
Okay,
this time?
so what we know is the government has, the US government specifically, has known about these visitors, we'll say, since the 1930s at the very least. And they know that their technology is far, 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 far more superior than anything we have imagined. We have reverse engineered their technology. They have found and recovered, what do they say, non Earth biological entities.
And when you say reverse engineered, we have reverse engineered.
The ET technology. So, one of the things that was rumored to be created from, actually, two of them, was the make that three of them: the microchip, the stealth bomber, and the SR-72 Blackbird. Those are a couple of things that was said to be created by reverse engineering their technology. And if you actually look at how they're designed so differently from.
Intricately, too.
Yeah.
Right. Well, even if you look at like you said, microchip,
Mm-hmm.
so delicate,
Yeah.
but so much, you know what I mean? Like, can be put on.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting, and allegedly they have had physical contact with certain beings and maybe have struck deals or whatnot. So it's something happening. So, and
That is, I mean, that I get. I believe that. I mean, who it's, that means, okay, if that's the case, then we've known this because they've known it long enough to study it,
yeah,
to take the time to, I mean, okay, just if you know what, if Siri, hey Siri, when was what would you say, the microchip?
when
Like if
was
you looking back how long it's been since that's been invented, or these stealth fighters.
yeah, I mean we're looking at decades.
That's so we've been lied to. I mean,
I
how
mean,
would you can't put that in a nice term. There's
no,
no nice word. Lied to.
not necessarily lied to, but information kept from. I think
People
that's
have asked.
people ask, but information was just kept from. I don't know, but yeah, so it's very interesting, and it's vindication for a lot of people who were called crazy and outcasts and everything, such as Bob Lazar. I brought him up yesterday on the Malice experience they had me on, and Bob
That's yeah.
Bob Lazar was someone who worked at Area 51. He brought up element 1 1. Oh gosh, what
I
was
find
it?
that interesting.
Three.
If you think about it, though, to cover up all this for so long, to take intelligent people with and basically just kind of tarnish them by label them as crazy, um, trying to ruin reputation, of steady people that were onto something. I mean, not that we're ever going to get apologies or the families of of these people will ever get apologies, but it would just, that's just to even think that that might happen, silly. But it just, I feel like it's kind of shitty in so many ways. I have to say it. I just have to say it. It's just shitty. I mean, come on, like
Yeah.
people that had careers were kind of just ruined.
Yeah, and
Like
I know
nuts.
someone. I won't say I know him personally, but I know and I can't say his name, but I know him, and his whole life was ruined. Although to be fair, they did say shut up and stop talking about it, and he didn't listen. Like
Here
when the government
come
tells
the-
you to,
Yeah.
when they tell you to shut up, you shut up.
Da, 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 da. Yeah, here come the middle black. Yeah. That I think that would at this point in time, I think if those folks knocked on my door, I would be a little more concerned than, you know, being abducted at this point. Now, I have questions though. Now, obviously, it's not like they just arrived here, they've been here for a long time. But if they're looking at the state of things now, why aren't they up and getting out the hell out of town?
Uh, Same
If I
reason.
had a one way out that go and was like, bye,
It's the same reason
man,
why people like trash TV.
are we the Kardashians?
Most likely. I mean, we're the trash TV. Like, hey, Betty, go on and turn it on Earth. Let's see what's happening tonight. Look at these idiots.
Look at
you know.
how dumb they are fighting over bullshit that doesn't even matter and they don't see the whole big picture. Yeah, like
Yeah.
look
So
at how
they're
imbecile.
yeah they're just filming us and like a camera crew. It's like just stay out the way. Stay out the way. Every now and then they get caught in the picture.
Smile.
That's what happened.
You're
Uh,
on camera.
All right. Nick M is asking a question. What, and you probably don't know who this person is, Bonnie, but what do you think of Stephen Greer's credibility? I've been watching his interview on DJ Vlad. Stephen Greer, I stopped following way back in 2013. Uh, I can't really speak on his credibility because I don't know. But what I can say is he is one of the biggest pushers for disclosure in the world. I believe he's had like 1,000 or 2,000 interviews with pilots who have seen things. He's tried to create a network that will be safe for whistleblowers to talk about stuff, and he's definitely a proponent for disclosure. Um, I don't know about his credibility, but I do know what he tries to push and bring to the light. I think he even said like he's spoken to CIA directors about it, and that's where we get a little iffy. But you know, it's what it is.
Ooh.
Oh, very loud car outside. Oh
So
no, I
in
take it back. It's a
fact,
motorcycle.
so everything that we was a speculation about Area 51 now.
Well, that's the thing with Area 51. We we knew that things were built in secret there. They already said that, yeah, we did secret stuff here to sort of take some of the blow away from it. However, it was the alien conspiracist nuts who were saying, like, it's aliens, look at the lights and all this. And the government would say, no, no, which technically, I guess, in a way it wasn't, because it could have been Air Force messing around and doing stuff.
Right.
Uh, so with Area 51, it's not necessarily confirmed, but it gives more credibility to it. But yeah, according to Bob Lazar, the they did reverse engineer quite a few things at Area 51. They had underground bases. Gray aliens were actually there, and it was an incident that occurred because the Greys allegedly have. I'm trying to think of the name of electromagnetic technology and force fields and all that stuff. Where if something's metallic coming their way, it's going to redirect. And everyone was warned, like, hey, these guys are telepathic of some sort. They have this electromagnetic stuff. Don't draw your weapon, or else you will be seen as a threat, and this and that. Well, an incident occurred. Someone freaked out. They drew their gun, fired. Whatever ended up reversing and killed the guy. And
Jeez.
yeah, well, they were told, like, don't do it. Whatever happens, don't do it. Um, yeah,
Well,
just insane.
should have listened.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting is, though, this is just one species of alien. The Greys. It's probably the poster boy of aliens. Everyone recognizes it. Bonnie's freaked out by it. One's probably standing behind you. You won't even know it.
You had to do that.
Well, I'm just saying, you'll now the thing is, because they work with electromagnetic fields and everything, you'll feel a staticky energy, and your hair will start to stand up on your arms, almost like when a spirit's around you. But the thing is, this is physical, and it will touch you, and you'll pass out and then wake up trying to figure out what just happened. So, and you'll never know it was there. That's the crazy thing.
Well, and that's what's funny is, well, hello. You say hi. I say hello. I say her looks like an alien.
It's such a cute little thing.
Oh, it's pretty cute. Her name is Orion from like the Men in Black.
Orion, really? Like the Orion aliens? I mean, that's
Orion.
where the Orion Greys. I mean, like they say that Greys are, they come from Orion and Zeta. Yeah, the Zeta Greys, the Orion Greys.
That's gray. Weird.
So, Bonnie, you're connecting with something here.
I just liked that the other cat's name was Luna, and I was thinking Men in Black and the cat from there. And so yeah, I guess maybe in a weird subconsciously maybe. I mean, and now you were mentioning this magnet, that the magnetism thing, huh? And you're bringing me back to not once but several times, and I remember telling you about it when I would try to go and get on a plane, and how many times that they would have to just right.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be weird places like in my lower hip area, or like at the bottom of like my ankle areas, places there's no I wouldn't have thought metal would be. They would put me back in the little metal detector thing. I had PSA really just after me, especially this one time. Then after my bags, and then of course they go through my bags, and they could not figure out what was signaling in there. I mean, and this happened several times. Now, to be fair, one time it was my paranormal bag, so who knows? But usually, I mean, there were about at least 3 times that I set the thing off. It was so embarrassing because everybody else is just kind of walking through it, and then here's me that they're like, oh, hold up, pull to the side, and let me and they look at the thing, then look at me, pat me down, and not understand why they couldn't feel, why something wasn't where the machine told him it was.
Oh, yeah,
Just brings.
you're chipped and tagged, Bonnie.
I was well. I mean, it made me wonder at that point. I'm like, okay, why am I setting this thing off?
Yeah, you're chipped and tagged. And I have to correct myself on something real quick. It wasn't Bob Lazar with the alien incident. That was Phil Schneider. And I believe that's how he lost like 3 of his fingers. And what's interesting is because he was very outspoken, he was military. He was very outspoken, and he was doing a conference, and then he didn't show up a few places. They went to his home, and turns out he killed himself. Now, here's the thing. He hung himself. He hung himself, but with his missing fingers and everything, it would have been impossible for him to hang himself.
What do you mean?
I mean, he wouldn't be able to tie the rope
Oh, how many fingers did he have missing? Like,
3 or 4.
oh, so he had like a majority.
Yeah, it's no way he would have been able to tie the rope and hoist himself up there and all that. It's and the noose have it so tight, and it made no sense because he wasn't suicidal or anything. So
Right. So it's like a government shut up. I mean,
mhm,
allegedly.
yeah, so yeah, but it was Phil Snyder that had happened to
Wow.
with that incident.
That's insane. I feel like it's kind of crazy. Everything. It's just all now too. Do you think it's because of the sightings, recently that have made
Um, no, 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 no. This is someone else, not um. Oh gosh, Stubblebine. No, this is Phil Snyder. This is a different person. Um, I think um Stubblebine. He was involved with September 11th. Like I think he made statements about that. Not involved, like he was behind it. He made statements, I believe, saying that it was a inside job or something like that. Yeah, all good. Um, no, I don't think they did this because of sightings per se. Because
right
from
because
what
they've been hiding it for years.
yeah, so I think it's other reasons, quite possibly. I know that they're restarting the space program and they're going back to the moon, and there's a thing that goes around that says the moon actually isn't a natural satellite. It's artificial. It was brought here. It's an alien base on it that monitors us. And the reason why we never went back to the moon is because they told us not to. They said, get the heck out of here. So it could be preparing us for a wider interaction or something.
You mean like a war of the
Not War of the Worlds. Like if they wanted to do something, they can do it. Like
Oh
let's
man.
be honest.
I mean, if they thought of us as a threat in the least.
Yeah, so not War of the Worlds, but maybe it's like okay, maybe little by little we can tiptoe into their lives. Maybe we're getting to that point of reaching space travel, and I mean because we are slowly getting there. We're not going to go anywhere fast, but we're slowly getting there. And
Technically, if we get there, we're gonna have to do it really fast.
yeah,
Yeah, wah, wah.
so
So, what do you think? Okay, and I don't know why I can't think of his name now. Was it which president was it that supposedly had a meeting that some people believe had a meeting with aliens?
who was the one before FDR?
Eisen? No. Yeah.
I think it was Eisenhower.
Was
That's
it Eisen?
I think he was the one who's allegedly had a meeting and made a deal.
I still kind of believe that.
Because it would have happened in the 30s.
Because it was around the same freaking time.
Yeah, so I believe it was Eisenhower. And I mean, I don't know how true that is, but I mean, it makes for a good story at the very least.
At the least, now you got, look, my nervous habit. Sit in my hair. Twirling my hair. You got me doing it.
Thank you, Nick. Nick's saying before FDR was Hoover, but it was Eisenhower who was the one they said had the alleged meanings. Yeah.
I don't know. I find it believable. I find it very possible, at least. At the very least.
Well, the thing is this. They basically came to us and said, look, we're going to do what we're going to do, no matter what. You can't stop us. So it's either going to be the easy way or the hard way. And allegedly, Eisenhower and government said, okay, we'll do the easy way and we'll take some of your technology or whatever, and you can just use people as cattle. Allegedly. I don't know how true that is. I don't fully believe it. I do think, yeah, there's somebody probably messed
Call
up.
me a cow.
I didn't call you a cow. I said use people as cattle. That's not calling you a cow. I would never call you a cow.
Well, what is one singular? If there is one cattle, what would one cattle be?
Look in the mirror. No, it's actually pretty interesting with how they decide. Like, I can't prove it, but folks who research this and look into it, it has something to do with the bloodline, possible psychic awareness, family pacts, like ancestral family pacts, which you wouldn't even know about. We're talking about thousands of years, and all of a sudden, like, hey, you got a contract to fulfill. Like, what? I didn't even make this. And government, being related to government, plays a part. So chances are, if you have someone in your family who is high ranking or worked on top secret stuff, then you will be visited.
You mean like a parent that was ASA, Army Security Agency?
Yeah. And you got the psychic mess going, and you probably have that RN negative blood or whatever it is. Like, I'm bad with blood types. Like, I think it's like RN negative or something like that. This is where I need Rose, because she has that blood type.
I know for a fact my sister does, or something, because I think because like when she had her children, like she had, because like it was like a health risk when she had her.
Yeah, I don't know my blood type.
I don't even remember mine.
Yeah, I've never known mine.
I used to. I did it one.
I mean, it's probably a good thing to know just in case, but yeah.
Yeah, but if you're getting a transfusion, you're probably not going to be able to say what kind of bloodline. You probably just. Yeah, it would be a good idea to know.
Yeah, but I can't afford to go to the doctor, and I hate needles, so that's not happening. It just.
I always say that, and while I'm showing my tattoo, I'm like, I hate needles too.
Yeah, as you're inked up.
But I do hate needles.
No, like, I seriously, I can't do needles. Like, just give me a pill so I can get knocked out, gas me, whatever. Just don't do anything with a needle. I can't handle it. I panic, and I will beat someone down. So, no needles. Ugh.
Yeah.
There has to be a better way.
The thought. Yeah. No, it's crazy. It's very interesting to ponder.
Now, going deeper than that, though, because you work in the paranormal field and you do occult things and work with various deities and whatnot, what if those deities aren't Earth-born or from wherever they're from on this planet, but they are from somewhere beyond?
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
It's just they are that advanced. Because I do think our ancestors had contact with these beings, because they all for the most part say the same thing. They have descended from the heavens. Descended.
My son, I've told you before, he's actually, I need to get his paperwork in. I really just do. I think, well, we wanted, I think I want to go with a powwow this year. I've already looked the date up. They're having another one finally. And I'm going to look into getting his card. The Choctaw tribe, there is a mound, a particular mound that's like a hole in the ground. It's like it goes into a cave type thing. And they literally, the Choctaw, I think the name, they called themselves the people from under, they came from under, like from the ground. It's like one of the old stories from the Choctaw people, is that they descended from the earth, like came out.
That's interesting because there is the theory of the hollow earth, and reptilians are from the underground of the hollow earth. I don't believe in the hollow earth, but I do
Yeah.
believe that there could be caverns or something at least.
Well, I mean,
recorded
if they
somewhere.
taught, if that was one thing that like your, 51 was like underground, it's like how did they learn to build these huge underground cities almost?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah, it's something there, and I keep saying I'm going to try to find and remember this group of people. They're First Nation people who were warned by their reptilian god to get into a safe location, have safe housing, and they built into a mountain, like caverns or whatever, and they had this giant door that wasn't meant to keep people out; it was meant to keep people in. And their god told them it's gonna be some nasty stuff happening, and we don't want you in the crossfire. So basically,
that's
warned them of a coming war.
that's scary. I
and
mean, it's good, but it's scary.
in some Hindu and Vedic literature, or lore rather, they talk about these giant floating cities of the gods and them raining fire from the sky, trying to kill each other, or at least it appeared that way. It's like,
Right.
okay, so did we just see a fight over this planet? And here's the other thing. This planet, it said that we are not the first inhabitants. We're not the first humans. It was several humans before us, but the world was restarted for whatever reason. And even before us, it's some of the conspiracy theories and things like that that's out there said that it was originally reptilians who were supposed to inherit this. And and this is where I wish Curtis was here. He would dig this. Then it goes into the Anunnaki stuff, who are the allegedly, the fallen angels or whatever, and their offspring produced giants, or they were the giants. Well, it is believed that there was a war between giant reptilians and some other beings, humanoid beings. And whoever won inherited this planet, and the others were kicked off. And of course, this leads into the Planet X nonsense, Nibiru, which I don't believe in at all. But it was said that that's where the giants are, and they're coming back, and they're PO'd, and they're going to wipe out humanity. So maybe they gave us COVID. Maybe that's what that was. That's what happened. I don't know.
They're gonna stomp on us.
Yeah, so it's very interesting because some of that stuff, it lines up with the alien things, and it's just like, whoa. But I do believe that some extraterrestrials, and in this case I do mean extraterrestrials from this reality, from this space that we all share, did come down, and they were here in the flesh, and our ancestors looked at them like they were gods or something. That they try to teach us? I don't know. That they tried to take us? No idea. That they just want to get freaky? Possibly, but I do think they
They did
portray.
it for the birthing.
Yeah. Now I also believe though that there are interdimensional beings, which we see if you work within the occult or you just into the paranormal. You know, ghosts and angels, demons, gods, goddesses. You know, they aren't of this plane of existence, but they're somewhere and somehow they can connect with us. And if they're so, depending on how we look at interdimensional, they would be interdimensional. You know, when we pass away, we are going to another dimension, whether it's side by side or vertical. You know, north to south. That's a different story. But yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm yapping at the mouth here.
No, I enjoy it. It's a little frightening,
It's
obviously.
frightening.
Um, yeah, but it's very interesting because, I mean, when they're being open about it, it makes it hard to ignore anymore. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it might be a thing. Now it's a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. You know.
Yeah.
So where like, I could try to put it in my mind and play it off as no, it's not real.
No, and you know, you want that denial, but sorry, denial said no longer river in Egypt. You can't have us. Sorry, no more denial.
Now, how many types can they? I wouldn't say confirm, or have they admitted to, or
Well, that's the thing. They haven't admitted to any particular type. They just used non-biological Earth, or excuse me, yeah, like non-Earth biological uh, creature, person, entity, something like that. So it
sounds like they are hedging around something there. Like they know,
yeah.
but they're not supposed to say.
But as far as I know, non-biologics. Thank you, Nick. As far as I know, we have Orion Grays, Zeta Grays, which Betty and Barney Hill first encountered, and they were given a star map of Zeta Reticuli, which turned out to be legit crazy. Um, Zeta Grays are also weird because it's rumors stating that they're actually not true Grays. They are humans from the future, and we messed up the planet so bad they underwent a mutation. They've come back in time to try and stop whatever caused this, and if they don't, they're just going to wipe everyone out.
So they would be time travelers.
Yeah, I don't know how true that is, but I remember speaking to a CIA agent, former CIA, many moons ago, and he told me that yeah, the government was experimenting with time travel, and it is possible. But the thing is, with time travel, we don't know if it's just a singular timeline or if it was split. And the thing is this, the only person who would know anything has changed would be that time traveler. And if the theory's correct and time always goes on and it's really no stopping it, then we would create a split timeline, and that time traveler may not go back to the original timeline where he's from. He goes to one that was created on the side, but the original one is still going forward. So, in essence, anything you try to do to change time will fail because you will never see the results of it. It'll be elsewhere in a now newly created timeline, which is a parallel dimension. I know that's
Now
confusing.
because now it's like okay. So for those that were like, oh, the Mayan calendar, and then of course, all that's not true because of what 2012 was it?
Yeah,
At the same time, could that be an effect from that? Like,
it's possible. I mean, it's
I mean,
possible.
if you
But
want to delve, that would be
I
something.
think if you actually adjust for daylight savings, leap years, and a few other things, the
That
2012 happened way before 2012.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
so,
Then
and I don't believe 2012 with the Mayans was supposed to actually be the end of the world. Those were nutcases who was like, it's gonna end, it's nothing here, we're all gonna die. It's like, okay, well, I mean, if we go with some of the calendars from the Middle East, we're like in the year 5000 or some mess. So,
dang,
I I mean, it's just, yeah.
who knows?
Um, but yeah, so yeah, Orion grays, Zeta grays. You have white grays, blue grays. I don't think they're actually grays; they just look similar. You have mantis. Uh, you have the Nords. They're more human looking. Syrians, Pleiadians, Lyrians, uh, Antarians. Um,
Octurian,
what?
Octurian,
I don't know about that. Wait, did you say Arcturians?
Octurian. I can't ever say it.
Ar-
You know me.
Arcturians, yeah, they're the ones who are allegedly who designed the galaxy and stuff. I don't know. They're supposed to be the most advanced out of everyone, followed by the Antarians. The Antarians are more mysterious because they keep to themselves, and they are literal sun people. Um, uh,
Interesting.
there is a some type of crystallized being. Um, there's shadow beings. I think the shadows and the crystallized ones, they're more interdimensional than extraterrestrial. And they're aviations or something. It's like a bird like people that there's been several reports of, and more. It's a few more, but those are the ones that come to my mind first that most people know. So it's about 12
A bird
to
type.
15. Yeah,
Huh?
avian or
Sorry.
something like that.
Well, no, I don't know how much you've ever dealt it. I know that I don't think you're a believer in it so much, but I have a hard time. To me, there's so much mystery around it. Maybe it's just the mystery around it that gets me, but the whole cryptid of the Mothman. Now remember, and I guess I don't know if you've ever watched it, like I said, but that one paranormal show, I think it's on Amazon. God, I can't think of the name of it right now. Anyway, they did a whole I think it was 2 seasons of basically this. They were called first to help with paranormal issues, but they're thinking ghost spirits, right? All out to get out there and go and but then when they find out and investigate more, they find out that it wasn't spirits per se that was giving this person this issue. Now the person, once they try to get out there and start investigating it, they couldn't find the person. Just kind of disappeared, like the person never existed. But then they started getting this messages, and they tried to like go and search, look up their person's IRL or whatever their internet browser, how they're sending emails, so that they were like, okay, is this somebody that's spamming us or like really scamming us, whatever. And they were not able to track it. It was very weird. Anyway, the same person that contacted the people when it came to Mothman, they thought it was almost like an alien being that presented as a person.
Mm-hmm.
What was his name? There was a name it gave itself. But anyway, they did. You know how I have the God helmet. They used the God helmet along with the Gonsfield, doing the Gonsfield the experiment side by side, and these two investigators, while the others were sitting there kind of asking questions to them, they were communicating, even though they were had earbuds in and kind of far off from each other. It was very weird. but they was having this contact, and I cannot remember the name. It was the same name that when they were having all these sightings of the Mothman. That, and they even in the Mothman Prophecies, the movie, they even kind of use the same name. Oh God, I wish I could remember it. But anyway, would that not be kind of a bird-like being?
I mean, yeah, I guess it could be.
And it did. I mean, when he would show up, it would always be around something, some disaster. And I got to looking into it again, not too far back. That there are still sightings, not just in West Virginia, but there are still sightings of the same type being. Which also, like, if you want to think of Sasquatch, which I know you're into,
Yeah.
with these all, because I mean, why wouldn't it be caught on camera? People have all claimed to see these things, yet if they have the type of cloaking or technology to where they don't want to be seen, they're not going to be.
Now, I wonder if they would be interdimensional and they're able to go through portals. And when a portal opens up, or maybe somehow they're able to manipulate it, it causes some type of, maybe not a large scale natural disaster, but it causes some type of nonsense to happen and they just go right on in and disappear.
Right.
So, but I'm still not a believer in Mothman. I can't. I
Is it so out there, or
No, I don't believe it. It's just one of those things where it's like, okay. I personally don't see it. I don't get it, but we all have that one thing.
yeah?
And for me, it's the Mothman. It just,
I think for me, it's more of the Sasquatch, which is, you know,
yeah. Now that's funny because that's like Benny. Benny is not huge on Sasquatch, but he's huge on Mothman.
oh, how funny. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
So you guys would definitely get along in that regard.
Me, because there were so it was like it was people in a town at the time that would never want to call the police and like, hey, you wouldn't believe what I just saw. It wasn't no, living in a small town. I would be very shocked if anyone around here would, if they had seen it, for, let's say they factually had seen it, no doubting in their mind, yet they didn't want to be labeled as crazy, but these people were so terrified of what they had seen, and it felt like a very big threat. I just find it very fascinating that so many people, like, and all they knew to do was call the police, like, what are we supposed to do? Like, you're on your own, dude. Like, but so I just find so much about that whole time frame, especially that there's so many of it, multiple accounts of it. That's why I find it so fascinating. And it wasn't the type of people that would go proactively being into that kind of stuff. I mean, these are people that good church going people, God fearing people, that would seem completely opposite of anything that their Bible would tell them about.
You should look into the Hopkinsville Goblins thing.
What? Where's that
at? Somewhere in the South, Kentucky.
Oh my gosh! Do you realize? Okay, so this whole thing that I was telling you about, that is okay. So the paranormal thing that they first were going out there looking after were what they called quote unquote goblins. When this paranormal team recently, a couple of years back, went out there, they at first they thought it was like a regular paranormal investigation, but then because like it had like it had these weird footprints. They took pictures of what they. I mean, it's some weird crap.
Oh,
And
that might be the same thing then. Yeah, the Hopkinsville goblins. It was a
see, and that's what they had first went out there. But then this stuff with this Indrid Cold, or I think that's how it was pronounced. Indrid Cold, Indrid. I
close
can't
enough.
call Cold. But anyway, it all kind of tied back in. Somehow they had it not lumped in, like, but they, if you watch, I'm about to send you the paranormal. I cannot remember the name of it off my head right now. But it was weird how it connected in a weird way. But it started with this quote unquote. They were seeing things, but it come out to be these goblins. They thought they didn't know if they were aliens at first or what, which maybe they were.
Yeah. Wow.
But they were little bitty. They were things that would peek in the window, and like it was terrorizing the family. And it was always at night, and they would make a lot of clutter, and they would go, and it was almost like some of the things they were explaining was like the horrifying scene from listen to me from E.T. where he goes into the greenhouse. Ah.
That is interesting.
That's so awful.
That is interesting. Yeah, the family involved with the Hopkinsville's goblins. Well, they got their guns and started to shoot at them. So,
Right, but good luck.
yeah, so that's very interesting because
And they had these weird ears that
yeah,
were,
that's the same case. Okay, so you did kind of see about yeah, and
yeah.
the skeptics tried to say that they were owls. And I'm not
What
even.
freaking kind of owl is that?
I don't know, but that was one of the explanations where it's like, oh, they were looking at owls and they
I
freaked
love
out.
it when people are trying to reach because they need need an answer and they don't want to even think of things that it could be. I think sometimes an owl, like find me a koala bear, at least.
You know,
Like
a drop bear.
something that's ha ha ha. I fell for that. I fell for that before.
You did really?
I did.
Oh no.
Yeah, I
Oh
did.
yeah, but yeah, so it was interesting. Okay, wow. All right.
Weird parallel.
Uh,
Because it did.
Nick, he's saying that he saw a video today about frogmen, and it reminded him of the description of the Hopkinsville incident. So
The
that's
frogman. I've
interesting.
heard of frogman. I think I've heard of something like. Of
There,
course, I saw something like that. That'd be quite terrifying.
there
I think
was. Oh, I'm sorry, Bonnie. What?
it would just be terrifying to run across something like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely horrifying. There was another incident took place in the South. I can't remember the name of this one, but they were in the swamps or something, and these guys saw some type of mechanical alien. It freaked them right out. I don't know if they shot at it or anything, but they got the heck out of Dodge. And I think it somewhat resembled one of those things from Doctor Who, like the Dalek or whatever. I don't watch Doctor Who, so I don't know the names of things.
Yeah.
But that one was interesting. I'm just like, nope, we're not doing this. Like, I don't think those are the ones where you can say, leave me alone, don't bother me. And like
Right.
please.
Exactly.
But that is something I've always been interested in as well is the culture of aliens. Like, what do they do? Do they, do they have recreational things? Do they kick back? Do they work? Do they have to make money? Is this a vacation spot? That's something that I would love to get an answer to from somebody. But
Planet Earth vacation.
I mean, trash TV. So here's some tickets. Watch it front row.
This would be like a very hillbilly version of, I guess, Disneyland
I
for
mean,
them.
sure. Why not? You'll get some laughs. So I'm always curious about that, and I wish someone knew. Like, okay, what is their culture? What do they do for fun? Do they have video games, comic books, TV? Like, what is happening here?
Or is everything super serious?
Yeah, which I don't think it is. I think some of them do have a personality because one particular guy whose name I can't mention, uh, he would leave his house and he would come back with furniture on his roof. And the neighbors are like, oh, that's a funny prank. Like, yeah, funny. Ha ha. Who did it? You wouldn't believe me if I told you. It was someone out of this world.
Couch.
Yeah, so they literally would troll this guy, putting his furniture on top of his roof, rearranging it, calling him, leaving voice messages. No joke, a woman would leave a voice message who was not of this world. And I think at a convention, no, it's no, I think it was at a convention he was talking at, and I think I shared this picture with you, Bonnie. Um, Hybrid Kid showed up.
Yes.
And, of course, you can immediately dismiss it and say, like, oh, this isn't real. It's a make. Well, no one seemed to notice them. And the person who took the picture just happened to take it. They weren't trying to get it. It was just one of those weird things. And it was like, what the heck? This isn't normal.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, but I do think they have a sense of humor depending on which ones, and but then they could be all about business as well. And going back to the gods thing, if we look at the gods, some of the gods did have a sense of humor. Some of them liked to party and get drunk and just mess around. Zeus was a freaking horn dog, the biggest horn dog, and you know, um, I think it was Artemis. Artemis loved getting drunk. Give me the wine. So I
Many of the Norse gods.
oh, good lord. And the Norse guy. Well, but then, well, it depends on which ones. Are we talking about the Aesir or the Veneer? Because one side was more warrior like and just ready to stab a hoe, whereas the other one was a bit more occult like, doing the magic and everything, and they didn't really want to stab a hoe, but
Yeah.
but uh-oh, I just hit a wire. Wasn't supposed to. Oh no. Well, okay, everything still seems to be working, so we're good.
We're back.
Yeah, and it's
You said
interesting. It's interesting because those two factions, they did go to war with one another, and
that.
the Veneer and the Aesir, they did go to war. I think in part thanks to Freya, because Freya was working her magic and healing people, and like getting them laid. And the Aesir saw this, and they weren't really with the magic thing. They're like, hey, 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 no. And they start to duke it out, and eventually common sense hit, saying, okay, we got to stop this or we're going to destroy everything.
Mm.
And they did stop, and they came up with a treaty and a way to intermingle, and that's when they sent three Veneer, Freya being one of them, to be married off to Aesir, and the Aesir sent three of their folks to be married off to the Veneer. I can't remember which Aesir it was, but she got the short end of the stick. She hated what she got. She got gypped hard.
That, can you imagine, like, oh, here's your new husband, and you're like, oh wait, the other guy's got this one, and I get.
Yeah, she got gypped. I mean, it's honestly, it's probably what's gonna happen to me with my luck. Finally, someone likes me. Yes, yeah, no.
Right, and then it'd be like not. Yeah, sounds like they got catfished.
Yeah, so
Or
unfortunately, and I can't remember which goddess that was who got gypped. Everyone else, they made out like a felon, but not her. Like, because I think her husband, he was very outdoorsy, he wasn't clean, he was a loud mouth. It was just like, he wasn't handsome, just
not
nothing.
even like so he like there was it's not even he okay. You know, people can look well, some people can look past the outward side, but it's like on top of that, he was kind of just an
Yeah, he had the
asshole.
personality of a brick.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
she got gypped. It's sort of like Aphrodite marrying Hephaestus, even though Hephaestus forced her hand. But I feel bad for Hephaestus because his whole life was terrible. Hera throwing him off of Mount Olympus because he was ugly and he had a deformed leg or arm or something. It's like, come on now,
yeah.
just whoop. And
You're bye.
yeah, and then, being treated like garbage and all the other gods, they weren't really manual labor gods, but Hephaestus is the blue collared worker making the weapons and the armor, and they already don't like him for that, even though his stuff works, you're using it, but, and he was still so mad at Hera, just so PO'd at her. He was
He was
like,
the red.
no, and he got her back. He made a throne and,
Huh.
a beautiful throne for her, and he was allowed into Mount Olympus to deliver it. And when she sat in it, she was stuck. She couldn't get out of it in front of
Fly trap,
everyone. Yeah,
like some fly paper. Ah,
and Hephaestus was so happy. It's like, I got you, I got you. And everyone begged and pleaded, like, please let her out, let her out. He said, nope, I'm not doing a thing. Took some wine and went back to his workshop. He didn't care. He got his laugh. And
and he,
I think what happened was because they wanted Hephaestus back on Mount Olympus, he said no. I think it was Hermes, or it was either Hermes or Artemis. One of them went down there, got him drunk, and then brought him to Mount Olympus. And he talked to Zeus, and Zeus was begging and pleading, like, please let her out, get her out of the throne. And Hephaestus said, I'll do it under one condition. You give me Aphrodite. And that's why Aphrodite got married to Hephaestus. And Hephaestus knows he made a mistake. Aphrodite doesn't love him. She doesn't even like him. She doesn't even tolerate him. That's why she's getting freaky with Ares. But Hephaestus saw this as a prize because he was mocked and hated, made fun of. And now he has the most beautiful goddess of love and all this, even though she cheats on him with any and everything. And
right. So it's like,
yeah,
yeah,
and really,
yeah.
his match would have been Athena. There was romance between those two, but for whatever reason, he didn't do that. They actually had a really good relationship, and Athena could be seen like the female equivalent, just, not deformed or crippled, as Hephaestus because she was someone who worked with her hands. She protected the heroes and all that. She was wise, intelligent. And yeah, so Hephaestus, he messed up. Although chances are Athena would never have agreed to marrying him because she was like the first feminist, in my opinion. Uh,
Wow.
but yeah, so and Athena, like I think one of the stories says that she comes out of Zeus's forehead because Hephaestus took an axe to it.
That is, it's funny. Some of the stories are very interesting. You know, literally makes you think, played with humanity like toys.
Yeah, well, I
For,
mean,
for sure.
that's kind of what they did. I mean, if we look at some of the rules that was established for the Greek gods, one of the rules was do not directly interfere with humanity. And aliens are not supposed to, at least this is what I was told, they're not supposed to directly interfere with us, but you can have champions who work for you, or you can work through them to a degree. No direct interference. And I mean, if we look at the Odyssey, that was just the gods toying with Odysseus, unfortunately. And in some ways, we can see this with extraterrestrials. They can toy with us in certain ways. You know, you might see a UFO flash up and everything, like, oh my God, did you see that? And now you caught its attention. They see you, and it's like, we're coming for you now. You established you know.
Yeah, notice us, and then we're gonna notice you.
Yeah. So yeah, they can do that, in my opinion. Do they? I think so, to an extent.
I mean, yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
I so you know, in a sense, in a way, at least, it's very interesting. I think it's so crazy that is just. When did this come out? Like the publicly?
A couple of days ago. This is fresh, hot off the presses. So yeah, where the heck have you been?
Not watching the news, obviously. I watch a lot of true crime.
Well, yeah, I know. One day we're gonna have to do a true crime show just for you and Niema, because she loves true crime herself. Like, I don't get it. I can't. It's like, man,
it gets dark, I guess. Well, obviously, yeah, it's dark. It's dark. Yeah, it's dark.
Yeah, you see, that's not for me. I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but I prefer peppy, happy things. You know, like I watch Bob Ross. You know, so that gives you an idea in old episodes of Mister Rogers.
If you don't like Bob Ross, you got something wrong with you anyway. He's birds.
Oh, there are no mistakes here. Just happy little accidents. Happy little tree. Happy little cloud.
Well, he's so soft spoken.
Yeah, it's hard to believe he was a drill instructor.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was military. He was a drill instructor. And he said that after he got out, he never wanted to yell at someone again, because he had to say and do stuff that he didn't necessarily like.
Gosh, because it sounds like I wonder which was his real personality. Like, obviously,
what we saw in the art of painting, or the art of joy, the joy of painting. There we go. That was his real persona. That was him. Yeah. So it's just he.
And then if you think about it, like even looking back at Mr. Rogers, like, you know, like the sweaters and everything was covering up all his tattoos, but he was, was he a Marine or was he Navy? I know he was some.
I think that was the urban legend.
Really?
Yeah, well, let's look it up. Let's see real quick. But I don't think he had tattoos. Let's see. All right. Rogers was born 1928. Successful businessman. Blah, blah, blah. Had a difficult childhood. Shy, introverted, overweight.
Overweight?
And, yeah, he had asthma. And he was bullied. He used to be called Fat Freddy. Went to high school, overcame his shyness, made a couple of friends. Okay, so he went into the military in 1948. He was classified 1A. However, his status was changed to unqualified for the military service following an armed forces physical in 1950. He attended Dartmouth College for 1 year before going to Rollins, where he graduated with a bachelor of music.
Didn't know that.
Presbyterian, Pittsburgh coronation. Yeah, like I said, I think that was
tattoo thing was not.
Yeah.
You know who does have tattoos? And Dolly Parton has everywhere. But like she also, if you've ever noticed, she'll wear gloves all the way on her hands because her hands are even tattooed evidently.
Really?
If you ever look at any video, she's always wearing like up to like I think our knuckles.
I never knew that. Oh.
Start watching and you type. You can even Google Dolly Parton gloves, but she's, she's what I think Miley Cyrus's godmother, and that's one of the things though that's very funny about it is like okay, no wonder she's the tattoo thing's no big deal, but of course Miley Cyrus always wanted to grow up like Dolly, so but Dolly Parton's also a neat ass woman.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's tatted up. She is like the first. I had an old lady that when I was younger, that my parents had a little restaurant type convenience store. It was like a mom and pop store. It was really neat. But this lady was like I guess you'd call them a usual. Every day she'd sit down, drink coffee, get eat something, whatever. She'd come in every day. And there was a country song called Trashy Women, and she said she grew up loving Dolly Parton, but Dolly Parton saw a streetwalker, and that's who she thought was beautiful, and that's who she wanted to be like. She's like, who is that? They're like, she's a hussy, and she's like, I want to be her.
Oh my.
Because she just thought she liked the very intricate, the very out there clothes, makeup, all of it.
All right, hey, whatever.
To it, and but her part and her personality is what's so interesting because she might look to others on the outside, I guess, especially back in the day, like a quote unquote whatever hussy back in the day. And nowadays she's just Dolly, but then just her as a person's a completely different thing. It's interesting.
So here's a fun fact for you. And I didn't know this was a thing, but apparently I looked up to pimps at one point in my life. And the reason for this, not necessarily knowing their profession, I liked how they dress. I liked the zoot suits.
You liked the blouse.
Yeah, I like the zoot suits. I like the feathers in the cap. Yeah, I like that. That's
well, so did Snoop. No, so did Snoop, honestly, if you think about it. So, but I think he looked both ways. But yeah.
That was the style that I was like, I can get behind this. I wanted the platform shoes and everything.
Did you like the bold, bright colors too?
Yeah. Yeah, I like the canary yellow and the fire engine red. Now,
would you ever try it? If somebody said, "Here, Mel, we're gonna go on a pimp suit shopping spree," would you do it?
In a heartbeat. I would even have a cane.
You would. So you would wear it on the show?
Oh yeah, that's my thing.
Everybody start donating. We're going to get Melvin a pimp suit.
Yeah, I would do that.
Color.
Yeah, that would be the only time I not wear this hoodie. So I would.
You would do it.
I would do it. Oh my gosh, yes. You have no idea how much I like that look.
Guys, let's make this a thing. That would be so cool. How about a cane? Would you do the cane?
Yeah, I like canes.
Absolutely, huh?
Yeah, I would do it.
I would love to see this. What color would be your go-to?
I would, even though red's my favorite color, I would go with yellow, or a deep purple.
I'm thinking purple, but the yellows would be me too.
Yeah.
Wow. So what about would you like the frilly undershirt or no?
No, I wouldn't do that one.
Not the blousey?
No.
So you would just like a regular nice button up?
Yep. With a nice vest.
Oh yeah. See, I love that. I don't know. I like this pimp suit too. I think they're neat.
Yeah, you turned into a total girl right there.
I do. I don't know what it is, but and you know what else I like? I like in the 40s, the old, like the men's. I like the women's clothes. I love the 40s fashion. Love it. From the hat, from the top to the bottom. like the pocket watch, all of that. I think that's so neat.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I have my grandfather's pocket watch. I've never used it or put it on, but I do like pocket watches. Just something cool about them, and just
yeah,
classy and sophisticated, and just my good sir, the time is 1 o'clock. Cheerio. You know, it's just so cool. So freaking
I
awesome.
have a pocket watch that my uncle, my godfather, it's from World War II, is what I'll say, and it was during. It wasn't his to begin with.
Uh oh.
It,
Yeah.
it was.
Okay.
It didn't quite make it, and I wouldn't call it a I wouldn't, but it was there. I don't know. I just know that the story was.
Spoils of war.
I mean, I guess it was still working. That's so fucked up.
Yeah. I mean, hey, finders
Hey,
keep.
you ain't using it. You don't need to know the time anymore. Can I have this? Thanks.
Yeah. Gee.
I mean, honestly, like, let's be real. I'm sure that happened way more than we would.
Yeah, but I mean, if I'm taking something, I'm giving it to the family. Or unless it's on the other side, then I'm
I'm
not.
the same way. I'm the same way. I am the same way. But
Yeah.
it is, it's just crazy. And I guess,
Watch that thing be cursed.
I have it.
That explains a lot.
Well, but I also have all his, like, I have his, he is, what's it? His heart, like what is it, Purple Heart, whatever, and all of his other medals that he had gotten. Um, he had, I don't know who has that, but he also had a letter, and this is so cool. I found it very cool. A letter written to him, well, obviously in the 80s, from Ronald Reagan, signed
Oh,
by.
that's pretty cool.
That is cool. I liked Reagan.
Really.
I did.
Learn something new about you.
I did. I don't know what it was. There just seems something different about him.
Yeah, I can't say I'm a fan. So,
No.
God no. I have some of my grandfather's stuff when he worked on the presidential train. He was a cook for the president. This was Hoover, and
Ooh.
and like I have his lantern. I'm actually looking at the lantern right now over there, and a couple of railroad spikes. Yeah.
Have you lit it?
No, I don't
No.
even know how. I mean, it's an oil lantern. I don't know how to do it. Like, oh, that's beyond me.
I would burn. You would you would catch yourself a fire.
Yeah, so I am not a man's man, people. Like, I pay people to do stuff, so.
Yeah. And you feel like a lantern for me because I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, like, hold up. Let me get all the way over here in case something blows up. And, the most that I will do that's hands-on is change a light bulb. There we go. I had to think for a moment.
Okay. Have you ever done a firecracker?
Well, yeah, I've lit fire those way in the past.
Wait, what time? And I'm like
Not the legal kind. We'll just say that. Yeah, my uncle, he used to be a truck driver, and he would go through all the states and everything, and in Arizona, he would pick up a buttload of fireworks that weren't legal in California.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, so the cannons and everything, all the stuff that they do at the professional shows.
Y'all would get those. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what he would bring, and like, and let me tell you, like, the 4th of July in the ghetto is probably the one time where you want to hear pops, because for once, people, they're not
It covers up the sound of shots.
very funny, Bonnie. No, but people actually have a genuine good time, and there are block wars to see who has the most fireworks and who can last, who has the better ones. I mean, it really does turn into a war zone. I mean, most people over here, they probably have no idea why they're shooting them off, but, they're having fun. So that's what
We
matters.
do it a little differently in the country. When me and my cousins were little, we'd shoot Roman candles at each other.
I'm sure they do that as well over here, but, I think that's just weird. Why would you do that?
Because it was fun.
No, it's not. That could hurt somebody.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
A demented little kid I was.
Yeah, you see, I was not like that at all. I was, very respectful and like, no, not doing this, and walk.
Let me tell you, we had some weird summers when I was a kid, teenager. Like, my dad cut off the tip of his finger, and me and my other cousin had to go retrieve it.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, I saw it, and I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's a severed fingertip. It's not supposed to be where it is. And I was like, when they realized that they couldn't sew it back on because it was like, they didn't clip the bone, like it just in the right way that you couldn't, it couldn't be fixed. Well, and it also, it was done in a tractor, like he was basically trying to line up, not the combine, but the shredder to the tractor. And, he was lining up the hole to where he puts the pin in. And my cousin, my dad was trying to get it situated, and my cousin led up off of it. And basically, my dad, he goes, well, this is going to sound wrong, but he said, this is what I get for sticking my finger in somewhere it don't belong. Yeah, it got him and he goes, I remember he grabbed his hand like this, and he wouldn't even look. He goes, I just think I just lost a finger. Like it was one of those things he just knew.
Oh, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Messed up. And I remember we're like, here, after he came back from the hospital, we had it in a styrofoam cup because we didn't know what else to do with it. We had it on ice, and we're like, here, Dad. Here it is. You're welcome. And he's like, oh, God. It freaked him out. He's like, throw it outside. He goes, yeah, throw it out. He goes, wait, maybe don't. I don't want the dog to eat it. Oh, even just the thought. Oh. It was just everything that he could think of, which it was like, this is just so fucked up. And he says, would you mind burying it? I'm like, you don't want a funeral too? No. Your life, my fingertip.
No, and you know what? I think that's a good spot to end it.
Of course. Always something awkward that I say.
Yeah. Good spot to end it. Thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate it. Thank you who's going to be listening later because I know it's late. Bonnie, thank you for coming on in short notice as well. So I really appreciate that.
Not a problem.
And, I think it was a good one tonight. Alien talk, fingers getting lost, pimp suits, the works. So,
always.
Yeah, so guys, be sure to follow Bonnie on. What are you doing, Kat? Sorry, Sweet Pea distracted me. Be sure to follow Bonnie on all her social media stuff. I'm not sure if I put it in the description, but I will do that when we end. And be sure to follow Unexplained Possibilities on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, and Instagram. Nick, thank you for coming by, and you have a good night as well. And as always, guys, remember, there are things that go bump in the night. Go ahead and tell them hi. Bye.